Welcome, and we are very proud this evening on behalf of the Toms River Regional Schools to present a very special program to our audience this evening. My name is James Howenstein. I am the Assistant Superintendent of the Toms River Regional Schools, and this is part of what has become an annual tradition here in the Toms River Schools. Over the years of TV 21, it has become tradition for the superintendent or his designee to interview the three valedictorians of the Toms River Regional Schools. And this evening we are going to be working with three outstanding individuals who represent the best and the brightest of Toms River High School South, Toms River High School North, and Toms River High School East. This is truly a highlight of the year on not only our TV station but also for our district as we look back at these young students' lives and what has created their opportunities as they have experienced the Toms River Regional Schools. So sit back, enjoy, and we hope that you get a great glimpse of three outstanding individuals from our high schools. And with that, I'm going to start by asking our three valedictorians to introduce themselves, to talk about what school they went to, what schools they went to, and also to tell us what university or college they've chosen to pursue upon graduation in a couple of weeks. So we'll start with you.
I'm Bailey Kiefer. I'm from Toms River High School South, and I'm attending University of Michigan next year.
Welcome, Bailey. It's great to have you.
I'm Jeff Lewis, and I attend Toms River High School North, and next year I'll be going to Johns Hopkins University.
Outstanding. Welcome, Jeff.
I'm Valerie Hirschfeld. I currently attend Toms River High School East. In the fall, I will be attending the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey and majoring in mathematics, and I'm very honored to be here.
Outstanding, great. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of the history that you people. So what I'd like you to do is go back to your schooling and talk about which different schools you went to if you went through Toms River all the way. So Jeff, we'll start with you.
I started in Toms River Schools in first grade at Cida Elementary, and one of my most memorable teachers from Cida was my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Carney. And then I went to Toms River Intermediate North, and there I had some great teachers, and one of my favorite was my eighth grade math teacher, who was Mr. Rebold, and he really sparked my interest in math, which I still have today. And of course, now I currently attend Toms River High School North, and I've had many wonderful teachers, especially in the AP courses. And some of my favorite teachers were my AP Computer Science teacher, Mrs. Corrado, and also my AP Chemistry teacher, Mrs. Newman.
Great, outstanding. And we're going to talk a little bit about your teachers, but I like that you're bringing all these great teachers up. Yeah. Go ahead, Val.
I'm from Toms River, born and raised. I started as an Eastover Bear in kindergarten. I went there through fifth grade, and I loved being a bear. We always say, once a bear, always a bear. Then in sixth grade, I went to Intermediate East, and I absolutely loved Intermediate East and was honored to then go on to High School East where, I love it here and I play softball here and it means everything to me.
Great, and we'll hear about some of your teachers later too.
Perfect.
So.
Thank you.
And Bailey.
From kindergarten through fifth grade, I attended Washington Street Elementary School. That was a great school. I made pretty much all my friends that I have now, I made when I went to Washington Street Elementary. And then for intermediate school, I went to Intermediate South, and that was really fun. And then now I go to High School South, and it's definitely really spirited and fun, and all the teachers are great.
So we have a great cross-section here of our town. We have students that came from the different sides, the east side, the west side, the north side, had different experiences at an intermediate level, and then went to our three different high schools. I think one of the most important people that have impacted your life are your parents. And they set a foundation that you carried forward. So what I'd like you to tell our audience is a little bit about your parents and about one or two things that they instilled at you, probably at a very early age, that have created some of the successes that you've experienced. And Val, as we go around, we'll whip around, so we'll go with Val.
I'm honored to talk about my parents. They're two of the most important and most amazing people in my lives. My mother is a Toms River Intermediate North science teacher. She's been teaching for 27 years in the district, and basically I want to be a teacher watching her grow up, watching her climb on her desk, throw Barbies out the window, incubate chickens, which she's doing right now. There's actually 23 little beautiful babies. It just changes the way you think about the world, changes the way I see her interact with her students, and I want to be her. And that's kind of the one thing my mother instilled for me, is like love for learning and love for life, like love for what you want to do. Because there's never a day when she gets up and says, you know, I wish I was doing something else. I wish I was making 6 figures somewhere in a business suit. She loves it, and she loves seeing when they love her and love seeing what they're doing, and she loves seeing what they end up to be, and that's what I hope to be one day, because I want to teach. And then my father, he's the hardest working man I've ever met, and he's definitely instilled in me hard work and dedication, and he made me want to be an athlete, and he made me want to, you know, work hard to be better, because every day he gets up 1 o'clock in the morning and slaves and for hours, and he's a bread truck driver, and I just see how hard he works and how little like repayment he gets for it, and it just makes me want to work so much harder to make him proud. So
Outstanding. Thank you. Very nice. Bailey, talk about the folks.
My parents have always been there for me, and they've always been so supportive. My mom works at, well, she just retired, but she worked at High School East, and she was a physical education teacher. And both my parents have just always been really supportive, and my mom is always there for me. I'm generally a pretty unorganized person, so my mom is always helpful with like finding all the things that I lose and like reminding me of all the places I need to be. So she just always like helps me stay on top of like everything I need to do. And then my dad, ever since I was younger, he would always work with me with like learning, and he got me interested in math. When I was younger, we would always play math games when we would like drive in the car places, and that really, I like to think that really put me ahead of the other kids, because it not only made me learn more, but it made me enjoy it. So it's carried through the years.
Outstanding. Thanks. Jeff?
My parents have both had a tremendous influence on me, and one of the most important lessons that they taught me from an early age was to do my best. And they always taught me that as long as I do my best, then that's enough, and it doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing. As long as I can say that I'm doing my best, then they'll be proud of me. And also they taught me the importance of having a balanced life, where I'm not just focusing on academics, but also participating in clubs and sports teams and things like that.
Outstanding. So I can see there's a tremendous foundation established amongst all three of you, where your parents have had an influence with the love of learning, with your passions, and with your organization, and also giving you a philosophy that you'll probably take forward as you as you move out of the Toms River schools. Now let's move from the parents and back into the classroom. And Jeffrey, you must have read my questions because you started on this one, so I'll come back to you. Sorry, this one. Bless you. But you started talking about teachers, and I am a believer. One of my favorite quotes is by Henry Adams, when he states that teachers affect eternity. They never know where their influence ends. And I think that that is the greatest gift that teachers have, is that they do have that ability. And it's not just teachers, it can be coaches, it can be advisors, but the people in our district, the people that you have worked with over your 12 or 13 years here, have provided some of your foundation as well. So what I'd like you to do is look back, pick a teacher or two, an advisor, a coach that you worked with that has added something to your fiber, of you that you will take forward. And Jeff, since you started naming some of your teachers before, we'll go back to you.
Okay, I have to pick two of my teachers, which I did name before. And that would be my AP Computer Science teacher, Mrs. Corrado. And she's just been a great teacher because of her dedication towards the subject. And she stays after and things like that to make sure her students really understand everything. And computer science is what I'm pursuing in college, and she's definitely had a large influence on that. And her love for the subject really comes through when she's teaching. And also my AP chemistry teacher, Mrs. Newman. And she was a great teacher also because of her dedication to the subject. And she really shows just a tremendous passion for chemistry. And you can't really sit in the class and not enjoy it when Mrs. Newman is teaching. And I really think that was inspiring to see her dedication.
Outstanding. Two great teachers. I know both of them very well. Bailey, some teachers, some advisors, some coaches that have also assisted in developing Bailey Kiefer.
One teacher that stands out for me from High School South would probably be Dr. Schenker. He was my AP history teacher. I had him for 2 years. And he was really funny, and all the kids love him. He would really go over everything and make sure that we would study for the AP tests. He whenever we had a question, he always knew the answer, and if we didn't know the answer, then he would go home and he would look it up for us and bring it back the next day to make sure that all of our questions were answered. And all the kids just really loved him, and he was really nice.
Outstanding.
And then
Go ahead.
this year, my AP Calculus teacher was Mrs. Heighton, and she is by far the most organized person that I have ever met. She's also the NHS advisor, so every little thing that we do in both of those activities is just really outlined and really well put together, and like it would be hard not to understand what she was talking about. And yeah, pretty awesome to be able to teach calculus to a bunch of kids and have the record for the AP test scores for having 5s.
Outstanding. That's very good. Also, 2 outstanding individuals. And Valerie?
Yes, I've had so many amazing teachers. Like I said, I've had favorite teachers all the way in Eastover that have, made me want to be a teacher. But most recently, last year, I had Mr. Cohen for AP History. And Mr. Cohen, he's pretty much famous in high school. If you love history, or even if you don't, he'll make you love it. And he just comes in every day, and he's just happy, and he just wants to tell you all these random facts. One of which, like, I still remember that Teddy Roosevelt had a little badger named Josiah, which is random, but I mean, you learn stuff like that, and it just makes you want to learn more every day. And the fact that I would run up to him, and I'm a little nerdy, I'd run up to him and say, Mr. Cohen, like, I'm so excited to learn about this, and he'd be like, me too, and it made me not feel as bad about anything.
Outstanding.
And then Miss Jesek, she's my AP Calculus teacher. She was also my pre-calculus teacher and my softball coach the past 3 years. She's just the most amazing person I think I've ever met in my life. And she knows how much I love her because I bother her. I come in at 6:30 every day and sit in her classroom, basically stare at her, and she gets a little creeped out. But I love math to begin with, and she challenged me in a way that was intimidating, but at the same time made me want to rise to the challenge. And she's one of the reasons why I'm going into mathematics and why I want to teach. And she had a series of events in her life that, led her here when she was looking to go into a certain other career. And she always says, you're stuck with me. And I'm like, oh, you're stuck with me. So I love her, and she's one of my favorite teachers of all time.
And also 2 people I know and you can speak very, very highly of. It's actually interesting. I coached Mr. Cohen many, many years ago. So we go way, way back, and he's a great asset. What's interesting is you all talked about high school teachers, and that's outstanding because I think we have a lot of very talented high school teachers, and as I've represented the high schools and been a high school principal, I've seen that what they do to create magic and to create dreams and to live up to the words of Henry Adams, to affect eternity, is really a huge part of what they teach, even though they don't teach it. They teach it through their content and through their personality. A number of years ago, I did something when I was principal in Toms River, and I'm going to ask you to go way, way back. And what I did was I took great students when I was principal at Toms River North, and I asked them to go back to their elementary school, and I asked them to tell the elementary faculty what happened in their elementary career that got them here. And the reason I think that's important is because you guys talked about great high school teachers, but there was a teacher, kindergarten or first grade, that sparked something, that did something. They laid the foundation, and I've always said, as a person that has worked in the high school, one of the greatest thrills of my educational career, as I go through what I have tried to accomplish in education, is seeing the finished product. And a lot of our elementary teachers who may be watching, or elementary students that may be watching on a Sunday morning or a Tuesday afternoon because they're flicking channels, need to hear their impact on us. So we'll start, Bailey, with you, and we'll say, go back to elementary school and tell me a little bit about something that happened in that experience at Washington Street.
Well, I remember I have 2 teachers from Washington Street that really stand out in my mind. One was my first grade teacher, she was Miss Wilson at the time, but now she's Mrs. York. And then my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Gianetti. Both of them, I just remember being so friendly, and I remember just like wanting to learn and wanting to make them proud, because like a mother figure, you want to make your parents proud. It was like that, but with my teachers. And I remember they would always have so many activities, and it would be really fun to learn, and it really set a good foundation for just getting out there and like having a drive to succeed and making them proud. And I actually just saw my third grade teacher, Mrs. Gianetti, a couple weeks ago at the library, and she saw me and she like almost started crying, and it was just like nice to see that like someone still cares about you.
And I think that's why I asked the question, because when that third grade teacher gets to see you and say what's up, and you get to unfold who you are to them, I think that's important. Val, we'll come over to you. An elementary memory, a teacher that had something to do with that foundation.
I would have to say my foundation started with my second grade teacher, Mrs. Jump. She was just the sweetest lady in the world. She was always happy, and she's still teaching at Eastover. I saw her like 2 weeks ago, and it's one of those things, she still looks the same, she still smells the same, I still remember. And it's just so great. It's just, you go back there and everything changes. You get bigger, the hallways are small, the stairways are small, but she's still there and doing amazing. And I felt like she was, like Bailey had mentioned, like a mother figure. She like took me under her wing, and in a time when you're so unsure of like everything, you're growing, you're not really sure if you're like a young adult or still a kid, she just wanted to see me grow up and wanted to see me like get older and have fun. And at the time she had 2 older kids that were in high school, and they were just graduating, and I would always like she would always talk to them about me and say, oh, one day you'll be there. And I actually got a letter from her not too long ago telling her, she was telling me that she was following me in the newspaper for softball, and that just makes you feel amazing, because like I remember her, and to see that she still remembers, you know, me after all these years, and to see how amazing she's doing, so that's great.
Jeff?
Okay. I would have to say my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Carney, had the greatest impact on me. She really helped set the foundation for me academically because of her interest in all her students and her caring nature. And also, she was really a dedicated teacher, and I really think that she sparked my interest in academics. And yeah, that's it.
Outstanding. Now we're going to go to the one place we didn't touch, because I don't want to leave any part of our district out. But for years I worked at the intermediate school, and I always call them the wonder years, because so much is going on in your life that sometimes academics take a back seat. And I know we're covering all of our departments here, so I'm going to give you like one sentence to give me an intermediate teacher. Some of you have already shared that with me. One sentence about that intermediate teacher, maybe 2, and the influence. And Jeff, I know you already have the answer to this one because you mentioned them already, so we'll start with you.
Okay, definitely my 8th grade math teacher, Mr. Rebold. Again, his passion for math just really impacted me, and it made me love math myself, and I still love math today because of that.
Great. Val?
When I was in 7th grade, I had Miss Steiniger at Intermediate East, and she was tough. She was tough. I remember for my first test of the year, I studied for 8 hours, and you know, I pulled out a really great grade, and she was so excited for me, and she pushed me the rest of the year. I sat all the way in the back of the classroom, and she would always, you know, make sure to include me and everything, but she was great.
And as a social studies teacher, she didn't tell you about the badger that Teddy Roosevelt had?
No, she was geography at the time.
Geography at the time.
Yes.
All right, so that wouldn't have come up. No. But you would know that Wisconsin's the Badger State, right? Okay. And Bailey, go ahead. Go to your intermediate down at the home of the Seminoles.
My 7th grade math teacher, Mrs. Pentafallo, was a great teacher, and I remember that was the year that I realized that I really liked doing math, and that was something that I could excel in, and so she really just like showed me that.
Great, outstanding. So we covered the parents, your education. Now there's another piece of that whole puzzle that you've developed over the years. So Val, starting with you, talk to us about, besides the academics, what else did you accomplish as a Raider at High School East?
Well, one of the things I mentioned is I do play softball. I've traveled my entire life for softball all around like the country, and my big thing was that I always wanted to play high school East softball. I sat on the steps when I was in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, when I was 5, watching my cousins, and I just wanted to get on that field. And I did end up starting as a freshman, which is one of the days I'll never forget. And so I've had a lot of accomplishments through softball, and I've also tried to be involved in other like extracurricular activities such as like FBLA and Interact and Key Club and History Club, and pretty much everything I could get, you know, my finger on, I wanted to be involved in. And I really like doing community service because you get to help people, especially in the school. You're hoping that you can help like your peers and their families. So I really try to get involved as much as possible outside of just my academics.
Great. Jeff?
Okay. I play tennis at North, and I've played on the varsity tennis team for 2 years. And this past season I played second singles. And I'm also involved in the National Honor Society. Also, I like to be involved in the math and science leagues. And some things out of school I'm interested in is the past summers I've been volunteering at the community medical center. And I also I have a passion for music. I actually play the drums in a band with my brother and our friend. And we compose our own music and perform at venues and things like that. And also, with my brother, we've created an LLC where we develop smartphone applications. And we've released 2 applications so far, and we're working on our 3rd. And that's a fun outlet for me with computer science out of school.
And Bailey?
I'm the student body president at High School South, and then I'm the class of 2014 vice president, which people think is confusing, but that's just how it is. And then for the class of 2014 vice president, I've done a lot of work with setting up all the dancers for school, all the events. The biggest event that we've been working on for the past 4 years, doing fundraisers for, has been senior prom, which is actually tonight. So that'll be exciting to finally see what the last 4 years we've worked for. I've been on the varsity lacrosse team for 3 years, and last year we won the Class A South title, which was really exciting, and I'll never forget that. I played the piano for 10 years, and I played the viola for 10 years. And I'm also, like Val said, every opportunity that came up, I would just be like, oh yeah, I want to do that, no matter how busy and stressed I'm going to be. But it's just something that I have to do. I just have to do everything that's offered to me. And yeah.
So it's safe to say your day didn't start at 7 and end at 1:30 most days of your life. It went well beyond that into sports, programs you love, activities, community service, and developing that, all of those things. To stick with that theme, and again, looking at people that would be watching, what did you learn doing all that? Obviously, you had to manage time. I mean, that's a huge piece of the puzzle. You can't do all that, be successful, be number 1 in your class without managing time. But what's one other thing that you learned while you were going through all those different activities, whether they were music, volunteerism, a sport, one lesson, and I'm going to give you the challenge here because we're going to start with Bailey. You can't repeat what somebody else says. You've got to give our viewers a different taste. So Bailey, you're wide open. You guys may have to come up with a little different twist on things. So,
I guess through all the activities I've done, I've learned how to communicate with other people, because when I'm doing all that stuff, it's hard. Obviously, all those organizations, you have to deal with other people, and helping other people through the charity organizations that I've done, and organization from student council and planning. So it's just really taught me how to communicate with different people in different situations, and
making that phone call to the prom facility week after week does teach you a very important skill.
Yeah.
It does teach you to have that.
Leaving a lot of voicemails because they never pick up.
So it teaches patience as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Jeffrey, what do you got?
I think I've learned the importance of a good work ethic, because doing all these activities, there are times where I have pushed myself and it's been difficult for me, but still I think I learned that the hard work does pay off. I wouldn't be sitting here today without all this hard work, doing all these various things and getting as involved as I could. I really enjoyed that, I think.
Outstanding. And Val?
I would just say an appreciation for what I have and what I've been blessed with, because you see so many times when Miss Baldy had actually touched on it a few days ago during a speech. She mentioned that many things are gifts from God, and you can't really focus on them, and you have to be humble about it, but it's also what you do with them. So I've really been taught to take what I've been given through gifts and try to help the world. I'm blessed to have a wonderful, like we mentioned, foundation and family, and the fact that I can spend my time to maybe help people through community service and help them, and share that love and share that passion and share that foundation that I have is definitely epic.
Great. Okay, so we've done foundation, we've done education, we've done extracurriculars. Now we'll go to your future. So what we'd like to talk about, again, you've mentioned what university you're going to. Some of you may have mentioned what you're interested in studying. So if you could share that with us, and then tell us 10 years from now, if we came right back to this spot and taped the class of 2014 valedictorian, what would I expect to see from the three of you? And Jeff, we'll start with you.
Okay.
So school, your school, your major, and where you're going to be 10 years from now.
Okay. As I mentioned, I'll be attending Johns Hopkins University, and I plan to major in computer science, which I really have developed an interest in throughout high school and with my business with my brother. And in 10 years, I plan to be doing something in the software development field, and maybe being the head of a software development corporation, if it's possible.
Google?
I don't know.
Go ahead, Val.
As I mentioned, I'm attending the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. I'm going to major in mathematics and get my certification for education, and hopefully in 10 years I'll be teaching somewhere in New Jersey. I love the Garden State, I'll never leave. And hopefully I'll have, a family, which I know is a little far-fetched, but that's one of the reasons also I would love to be a teacher, is because I want a family, I want to live in New Jersey, I want to, see all my kids grow up, and I also want to coach somewhere in the future. I would like to come back, and hopefully where I'll be teaching in high school, I can coach there also. So I'm hoping I could be a softball coach somewhere in the future also.
Sounds like a Mrs. Dietzig in the making.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bailey?
Like I said before, I'm attending the University of Michigan, and I'm planning on majoring in aerospace engineering. In 10 years from now, hopefully I'll be working with the company, and I would love to travel around. And with my degree, I would probably be involved in making planes, like a corporate plane company. Possibly in the future, I might look into getting my business degree somewhere, so that way I can move from production to management in a company.
Outstanding. So math is huge for all three of you. You really have captured the science, technology, education, math aspect, the engineering and math aspect. Very, very exciting. You all said you were pretty much native to Toms River. You've all grown up here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what's special about this town? What makes Toms River, you said you want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
What makes Toms River unique and special? Because now, again, we've got people that are watching that aren't products, but they live in this town. So what do you see makes our town special? Val?
Toms River, like I said, I'm born and raised here, and I really think that makes a difference about, I've lived on the east side of town, I also live on the north side of town, I've seen all different sides. I've played softball with north kids, east kids, south kids, and even though we're so separated, there's something about Toms River where, we're enemies on a field, but then we're all really friends at the same time. And I think that's different about Toms River, is because we are so big, because there's 3 different schools, we have competition amongst each other, and that just makes us so much better, because we just want to beat each other so bad, but then at the end of the day, we want to see each other succeed. So, I think that makes Toms River so unique, and we all come out of different schools, but when you get somewhere and you get to college and you say, oh, where are you from? You always say Toms River. I'm from Toms River, and you're proud of it, and I think that makes it special.
Great. Bailey?
Like Val said, since we're such a big town, I feel like you would expect that all of the kids or the teenagers would be really distant from each other, but I've seen from growing up in Toms River that all the kids from all the different schools at least know of each other, if not friends. I know, not everyone, but I know a good portion of people that go to all the Toms River schools, and I'll be out at the mall and I'll see a group of people and I'll know their names, but I don't know if they know my name. And then
They probably do.
And then when people ask, where are you from? And I'll say Toms River, and then they'll automatically ask, oh, do you go to South, North, or East? Because they know that the 3 Toms River schools are all really competitive with each other, but when it comes down to it, we're all part of Toms River.
Great. And Jeff?
I think the great thing about Toms River is how family-oriented it is. It's definitely a great place to grow up. It's been a great place for me to grow up, at least. And I've been involved in many things like the Little League, the Toms River Basketball Association. I've made tons of friends through that, and I have met a lot of people, a lot of interesting people. And I definitely think it's been a great place to develop.
I think we should put you on a real estate show. I think you just sold some property in town. And what's amazing is nobody said the beach. I thought for sure somebody would have said the beach. We're 20 minutes or 15 or 10, depending on where you live. That's a given. That's a given. The Jersey Shore. So that's very exciting. All right, now we're going to come back to you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about you. I am a big believer that two of the most important characteristics our society needs to embrace for success in life, success in the future, are work ethic, which Jeff, you mentioned a little bit about, and integrity. The integrity of who you are is invaluable. And we live in a society where get rich quick is a theme, and get ahead whatever you can do is a theme. And we see it all the time in the media, we read about it. And I think what's unfortunate is that creates a perception that your integrity can be compromised to get ahead. Your work ethic can be manipulated to get ahead. In talking with you today, I don't hear that. And as the young people, the future, the people that are going to help me in my retirement and other people in their retirement, as I break my microphone, that's such an important part of who and what we all are. So Bailey, we're going to give you the tough one on this one to kick it off. Talk to me about your definition of work ethic, your definition of integrity, and what all that means to Bailey Kiefer.
Well, like he said before, I really believe that having a strong work ethic will really take you far in life. But like you said, people always look for the instant gratification in things, and they always look for the short way out. And like you go online or you look in a magazine and there'll be ads for get rich quick or lose weight quick. But if you really know, like anything that happens too quickly won't ever be long lasting. So I think that the best way to do things is to always go with your morals and what you're taught to do, and do what's true to yourself, and to do what you think is right.
Great. Valerie, we'll come over here. Ms. Hirschfeld, what do you got?
Well, one of the things, integrity, work ethic, I admit all the time, I have an older brother, and I always say, you're 10 times smarter than me. And he was like, what do you mean? And I just say, you're smarter than me. He's one of those people, I love him to death. He's my role model. He'll open up a book and he knows what's going on, and I'm staring at it like, I don't get the same thing from that. And I've always had to study and work really hard, and I take great pride in that. I take great pride that, I'm not the smartest kid out there. But at the end of the day, if I want it hard enough, I'll work hard to get it. And I don't want to, kick people down to do that. I want to get up there by myself because I deserve it. Like, if I deserve it, I'll get there. And another thing that I want to talk about with work ethic and integrity is, you were mentioning get rich quick. Well, I'm going into teaching, and everyone looks at me and says, why? Why at this time? You're never going to make back the money. Like, the money just doesn't mean anything to me. If I'm going to go sit in an office and be miserable the rest of my life, well, then it would mean nothing to me. The money would mean nothing anyway. So I really, when I say you should do what you love, you should work hard to get where you want to be, I know when I'll be teaching, I might not be making all the money in the world, but I'll be happy.
You will have riches far beyond
Yes,
your pocketbook.
exactly.
And I can state that very much so. I actually had a
Exactly.
similar discussion with my high school guidance counselor when I was in high school, who said, why do you want to go into education? And I said, I may never be rich monetarily,
Yeah.
but that's not important. What's important is going to a job and a life that you love, and as I say, you can make a difference in. Mr. Lewis, what do you got?
Well, definitely work ethic has been very important for me, and I have had to push myself often. And also, I really value my integrity. And I think one of the keys to a happy lifestyle is that you should be able to look yourself in the mirror and be able to say to yourself that you are an honest person and you're doing your best in life. And as long as you can do that, then I think you can be a happy person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great fiber of individuals, which I'm sure is part of all the people we've talked about in your upbringing and everything else, which is truly outstanding. The last bit of information, and then we'll do a closing comment, if you will. But the last question I have for you is your role models. There are young people in your high school who were younger than you, underclassmen. There are people that will watch this. You have siblings, possibly. You have cousins, nieces, nephews. What's the piece of advice that you would give them, or pieces of advice that you would give them, that you think will allow them to experience the success and develop their future that you've been able to do? And I feel like I've jumped around a lot, so I don't know. I don't want to slight anybody in not starting first. So I don't know who wants to kick that one off. We'll let you go on that one. We'll go this way. We'll go with Val, and then we'll go that way, all right? Great.
My biggest thing, the advice that I would say would be, not only we touched upon working hard, but I would just say to dream. To, dream big, and dream without limits. And one of my role models, well, kind of, is Walt Disney. And I'm a big Disney fanatic, and I believe that you should never stop dreaming, because you never know at any moment what could happen. And with some dreams, some hard work, and a little bit of luck, you can end up exactly where you want to be.
Outstanding. Jeff?
I think the one thing that's very important is a balanced lifestyle. And since there are so many clubs and activities offered at our schools, I think definitely it's important for people to get involved, since this is a great way to do not only academics, but something else that interests you. And it's another great outlet for making friends and things like that also.
And Bailey?
The piece of advice that I would probably give to people watching this and people that are younger than me is to always have fun in what you do, and to do things that that will eventually make you have fun. My lacrosse team this year, every time we went into a huddle before a game, we would go over okay, defense needs to do this, offense needs to do this, make sure you do this, blah, blah, blah. But then at the end, we would all say, and make sure you have fun. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how successful you are or how much work you do if at the end of the day you're not going to have fun.
So dream, explore, enjoy. That's pretty much, we can make a t-shirt with that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we would get rich quick, I don't know. It has been an absolute pleasure meeting with you and speaking with you. It is not only gratifying in the role that I play in this district to see that we have produced 3 outstanding individuals, and I am sure there are many people in your classes that would echo your sentiments as they go through this. I also think it's very exciting to look at the future and know that we had an impact on that as an educational community, but also to say that I think the future is in pretty good hands, because I believe Toms River is turning out hundreds of students of your caliber, of your insight, of your maturity, and of your talent. So I think that's really great. So the last thing is, do you have any closing comments you'd like to say before you go? Anything that you think is important, anything I didn't touch on? Even if you want to say, hey bro, how you doing? All right, go ahead, Bailey, we'll go that way.
I would just like to say thank you for having us all here. It's been a pleasure. Once again, Toms River is a great place. Shout out to my parents.
Great.
And that's it.
Good. Jeffrey?
Okay. I'd also like to say thank you for having us. And I'd also like to thank my parents for the great influence they've had on me.
Great.
I would like to say thank you also. I would like to congratulate Miss Baldy on her retirement while we're here. I think she's been doing a great job throughout Toms River schools and throughout East. And I would also like to thank my parents once again for everything they did, and my brother for just being awesome. And I hope we're best friends forever. So.
Great. And Mr. Stanziano, I know, is also
congratulations
retired.
to Mrs. Stanziano's retirement.
So, thank you so very much. This was outstanding. I do hope that all of the people that have an opportunity to watch and share in the dreams and the excitement, the involvement, and the energy and exploring and enjoyment that our 3 valedictorians, Bailey Kiefer from Toms River High School South, Jeffrey Lewis from Toms River High School North, and Valerie Hirschfeld from Toms River High School East, that you have enjoyed your opportunity to get to know them as much as I have. They are outstanding individuals. I wish them all the luck, and I know that they will make Toms River schools, Toms River community, and their parents very proud as their future unfolds. Thank you very much for joining us.